It is the Jesse Kelly Show, final hour of the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. We're going to talk about the Pentagon, chips. First, we're going to make fun of Bernie Sanders. Then we'll do some emails, all that and so much more coming up in the final hour of the Jesse Kelly Show. So the Free Beacon reported that Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets when he was out on a, quote, fighting oligarchy tour. I just wanted to make a quick point that we've made many times before, but we have a bunch of new listeners, so I wanted to remind you of this. There are three things all of the evil people who run the West have in common. All these filthy communists, they all share the same three characteristics. One, no love of country. You get that. That's very obvious everywhere you look. Why don't you see more patriotism in Hollywood? Why isn't there more patriotism on college campus, at CNN? Love of country? They think the very idea of that is ridiculous. In fact, they think you're ridiculous for thinking it. That's the truth. Two, no connection to the real world. There was a lady, Chris, we never even played the audio. Grab the audio if you can find the lady on CNN talking about, do we even care about HVAC jobs or something like that? That's what she says. She says something to that extent. There is a class of people in this country who were born into, this lady said this on live television. Go ahead.
Is it worth it to upend the global economy for HVAC jobs, right? Which is what Howard Lutnick is talking about. That these
just stop. Did you hear how the word HVAC jobs just it's like it dripped out of her mouth? Did you hear that? The disdain. She didn't even bother trying to hide it. Are we going to upend the global economy for HVAC jobs? By the way, young men, you want to make a fortune? Go learn how to do HVAC. Start your own company when you're young. Be a millionaire one day, you do it right. Anyway, but you heard the disdain in her voice. There is a laptop class of people who run the West. They're all over the media. They're all over Hollywood. They're all over Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., have you ever done something? Here's a fun experiment for you. Go look at the backgrounds of every Democrat senator. It's remarkable how constant you see a really nice background combined with early either media activism or political activism. These people walk right off of a privileged college campus into interning for this congressman and to this. They don't even understand blue-collar people, nor do they want to. Everything is academia, right? So that's the second thing they all have in common. No love of country, no connection to normal people, to the real world. And the third is this. They really see themselves as kings and queens. Even the commies like Bernie Sanders. He doesn't actually want to be a peasant. He definitely doesn't want to be equal to others. You see, he's a leader. You're the peasant. He's more important. He leads, you follow. He rules, you obey. You're the subject. He's the feudal lord. You don't get to ride on a private jet because he told you couldn't ride on a private jet. But the peasants don't get to eat the same things the king gets to eat. He does. You do not. And he doesn't see anything wrong with that arrangement at all. It reminds me about that COVID narrative we talked about many times before, what I told you. Do you remember during COVID? Do you remember how many politicians, all of them Democrats, remember how many of them got caught violating their own COVID rules? We could go down the list. Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom is probably one of the most famous ones. Deborah Birx. It happened repeatedly. They would just do something. They would say something. Hey, don't do this. And then when Gavin Newsom did it, it was the same day. He said, hey, don't do this. Don't gather in restaurants. And then after it, he got in a car and drove to a restaurant and gathered with his friends. Now, I'll tell you now what I told you then. This is the era of the cell phone. This is the era where you were a journalist already. You don't have to go to some special school. Everybody has a camera, a microphone. Everybody has a recording device. They walk around with them all the time, and everyone records everything now. And you know who knows this? Everybody who's even slightly famous. Everybody knows this. If you are in the public eye, you are aware that you may be recorded at any time with or without your knowledge. And I promise you, guys like the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, he very much knows this. Do you really think he got caught? You think Gretchen Whitmer, think all these people, you think they got caught vacationing in Florida without masks on after they told you to wear one? You think they really got caught? Or do you think they wanted you to know? They wanted you to know. They rule, you do not. They are the kings, you are the subject. These stories keep coming out about people like John Kerry and Bernie Sanders, all these people who tell you that you have to have a solar panel on your house, that you have to do with less, you have to be poorer, you don't get as much air conditioning, and yet they are always the ones in these private jets. Do you really think they keep getting caught? Or do they want you to know? They want you to know. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, play it. This is John Kerry.
On that issue, pollution, I understand that you came here with a private jet. Is that an environmental way to travel?
If you offset your carbon, it's the only choice for somebody like me who is traveling the world to win this battle.
For somebody like me? Look, somebody like you don't get to. In fact, you shouldn't even own a car, you earth-destroying peasant. But that's you. Me? Wow. I'm too important. It's why I tell you often, no matter what your belief system is, right? You believe what you want to believe. It's not my business, but it is very much a spiritual war we are in. Either you look at every human being as a unique, God-breathed soul who is definitely deserving of the same rights that you have, or you just don't look at the world that way. And that's a very old way of looking at the world. That you would argue that's probably the majority of people in the history of the world have looked at the world in that way. Well, no, there are classes of people, and this exists all over the world today. India's famous for this. You've heard of India's caste system. Well, that's still in place. Have you ever done any studying on India? It's really bad. They have a lot of problems, and a lot of it stems from if you're born in this group, you're kind of the ickies. You're not allowed in this group. But then there's a group above them. Well, you're not allowed in this group. It's the normal way people look at the world. And it's how these people, these Bernie Sanders types, the John Kerry types, it's how they look at you. It's how they look at me. Hey, Jesse, go through a couple of emails. Do you watch any of the Bible movies such as The Chosen or House of David? I have seen some of The Chosen. It's very good. I am going to watch it at some point. I don't watch much TV. So these questions about do you see it, I'm usually going to disappoint you. I prefer, if I watch something, it's usually a documentary, okay? I have seen a couple episodes of The Chosen. I thought it was very good. I would recommend it. I haven't seen any of the House of David. Ob has. I think she's watched it all. It's very good. What, Chris? House of David. You would like it, Chris, probably. It's about King David. King David. I think it goes all the way to Jesus. Though. Why are you raising your hands like you don't know who King David is? You're a Jew. Oh, you never heard of it? I think it's on Netflix or something. You have heard of King David, right, Chris? And okay, yeah, never mind. He said he hadn't heard of the show. It's famous, Chris. I think it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. And look, hey, buddy, I didn't watch it. It may go all the way to Jesus, which may make you uncomfortable. But I know that they have older stuff there. Like, I know this because when I walked by, there was a scene I think I was watching with King Saul. So this is like Old Testament stuff. And she said, she's a pretty good critic of that stuff. She said it was very well done. She said it was, so it maybe something worth watching. And Ob would pitch a fit if they threw any disgusting stuff in there and ruined the whole thing. She would tell me. She didn't say anything. So it must be well done. Hey, That's a secondhand endorsement. Yell it off if it's not good. That's definitely good. Hey, just yell at my wife, not me. All right. So I have a couple things I want to do. We have to talk about the Pentagon, and we have to launch Jewish producer Chris into a level of stress you've never seen before. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a magnificent Thursday. Do not forget, you need to email your Ask Dr. Jesse questions in now to jesse@jessekellyshow.com. A third senior Pentagon official has been placed on leave as the investigation widens. What investigation? How in the world did a communist reporter with The Atlantic get included on a group text, a group messaging app with national security implications? Well, I think by now, being as how they keep putting people on leave, communists inside of the government added him there. They added him to it. This is the level of resistance and revolution we have to deal with. And this is what happens when you fill up the government with your people. Barack Obama really, really did it well. 8 years he did it well. He completely remade the FBI. Notice how you didn't hate the FBI until recently? Barack Obama was the one who redesigned the FBI, the military, all of it. Oh, gosh. All right. We're going to stress Chris out because I don't want to talk about this anymore. I got this email, and I'll be honest, it actually made my blood pressure rise a little bit, so I can't imagine what it did to Chris. Oracle. We were going off about coffee, remember? I was listening to your story, your new invention story about home coffee, and I think you're underappreciating the home barista trend. And this guy says, would you like to give Chris a heart arrhythmia? This is what this guy says. I have a $4,000 coffee grinder. All it does is grind coffee beans. Yes, you could grind coffee beans with a couple rocks, but this thing does it very precisely. To go with it, I have a $4,000 espresso machine. You should see the look on Chris's face. He has his hands over his mouth. And another $2,000 one just in case I feel like using a different machine. I know for that much money, I could buy 1,000 $10 coffees, which is about 3 years of daily coffee drinking, and that doesn't include the cost of beans. And I do all the work, cleaning and maintenance myself. But I'm a doctor, and as a fellow doctor, you know it's all about prestige. Now, I'll be honest, when I screamed at Chris about this email, Chris was more defensive of it than I was because I still can't wrap my mind around the coffee grinder. Now, I should clarify that there are some things, you know, I'm the menu whisperer, right? I can always tell you what food to order off of whatever menu. I just can. I'm really, really good at it. Coffee is not my thing. I love a lot of different kinds of coffee. I try to only patronize veteran coffee groups or like good coffee companies. I really believe in those. But I have gas station coffee all the time. I have Keurig coffee all the time. That's what we have here in the studio. Chris hates it. We have a decent coffee maker at the house. I don't remember what kind it is. It was a housewarming gift from my parents. Jura? Does that sound right, Chris? Jura? But it starts with a J. Whatever. It's a nice coffee machine. But you know what? I can't taste any difference. I could have the coffee on a nice coffee machine. I can have it from the Keurig. I can have it from 7-Eleven. It's all the same to me. I drink black coffee. What, Chris? What? Okay, so you say, Chris, that it's all about how fresh the beans are. What am I going to taste different, whether they're fresh or not? I guess I just don't taste the difference. You say there's more flavor. I still think you coffee people are making that up, but let me give that to you. Let me go ahead and give it to you because Chris is the coffee snob and I am not. A coffee grinder is like $15 at Target. It's not. No, it's not more than that, Chris. They sell them in the grocery store. The little black ones. I've had one my entire life. The little black one that's 6 inches tall. You dump the beans in it and you press it down and it grinds the beans. Buddy, that's not $20. I guarantee that's not $20. What? What's the difference between the largest and the smallest particle? It depends on how long you press down the button. I've never seen a large particle in there. It's all ground up every time. And are you really seriously going to sit there and tell me if there's a couple little particles that aren't all the way ground up that it will make any kind of a difference that I would be able to decipher in the cup of coffee? You're outside of your mind. You're a liar. No, you are a liar. I think you coffee snobs are liars who want people to think you're more sophisticated than you are. That's crazy. $4,000. I'm not even killing the guy for what was it? A $4,000 espresso machine. Okay, I'm not even killing him for that because I don't buy them. I don't know what they cost. We always just had a pot, right? The pot with a little round filter. That's what we had. But a $4,000 grinder. There's no need. There's no need for that. Then you're just showing off. That's all that is. And look, hey, you're a doctor. I'm not actually killing the guy. You want to show off. I'm sure you're making a bunch of money. That's fine. Go ahead. I want you to succeed. I don't have wealth envy. I don't pity the poor. I don't envy the rich. Go make your money or don't make money. Money's not everything in the world. I get it. But $4,000 for a coffee grinder. You know what? I'm looking it up during the break. I guarantee you that little coffee grinder that I've had for 20 years, I bet you it's $20 on Amazon or something like that. It doesn't cost anything. And Chris, you're a liar. You can't taste any difference. Anyway, apparently we're going to start making chips again in this country. And we're going to talk about illegals. Hang on. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a magnificent Thursday. It is a magnificent Thursday. However, I do have some questions and concerns about the way British people say microwave.
But I still need a bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
What did you just say? Hold on, what?
But I still need a bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
British people can't even speak English. I don't understand it. Jesse, tonight I was listening. I had missed the show earlier in the week. You mentioned the Italian campaign, World War I. It reminded me of the medal given to me by my grandfather who immigrated from Calabria, I don't know. It's in Italy. He was awarded this for his service in the Alpine division of the Italian army in World War I. He gave it to me in the 50s. He didn't speak much English, but my dad said, possibly embellishing a bit, the medal depicted my grandfather, Ernesto Ferrato, carrying artillery up the Italian Alps. I am named for him, but I go by my middle name. Anyway, as I'm typing and listening, I went digging for the medal. So that Alpine division, I didn't really go into this much when I did the World War I Italian campaign thing, but that Alpine division, they were actually known as the Alpinis. The Alpinis. And Austria-Hungary, they had their own Alpine division, and those dudes were studs. Essentially, this is what had happened. Don't worry, I won't get too sidetracked. Mountain climbing, you know what mountain climbing is. I know what mountain climbing is. Okay. Mountain climbing back in at this time, was a relatively new concept. Meaning, hey, there's a tall peak. I better go figure out a way to get to the top. We've always existed in that kind of a world where that's something people do. People go climb Mount Everest or K2 or something. That's what people do. This was, in this era, kind of a new phenomenon. And so people are inevitably, as it's the new thing, they're going to drift towards the Alps, places like the Alps, to go do some of the best and biggest mountain climbing there was. And people from this region, both Austria-Hungary at the time and Italy at the time, they started to get really good at it and really familiar with it. And I'm sure a lot of this had to do with basic technology that came out that allowed them to do it. Either way, you had these studs on both sides who were already very, very comfortable and familiar with the mountains, how to survive, how to get up, how to get down, how to do all these things. And each army recruited these men heavily to form these special divisions that could not only fight in the mountains, but could train the other regular troops how to fight in the mountains. Yeah, total studs. The guy who wrote that email, your granddad was a stud. Dear Dr. Super Genius, I like this guy. You were talking about how you went to McDonald's before you got to grandma's house because she was a bad cook. We did that too. My dad's mom couldn't cook. Was your other grandma a decent cook? Please let the bar eat. I don't know. My other grandma never made me anything. Dear Oracle, I'm a 21-year-old college student from Wisconsin. I'm wondering what your choice of beer was back in the day. You know, Ask Dr. Jesse doesn't start until tomorrow, okay? Jesse at jessekellyshow.com. Guy says, I'm wondering what your choice of beer was back in the day. His name is Ira. Ira, whatever was cheap, okay? Whatever was cheap. I know you're going to be stunned, but I wasn't all that classy. And I didn't want to spend money. It was a lot of Keystone Light. What, Chris? What? Well, Chris said no favorites. My favorite was what was cheap. Keystone Light was very cheap. Very, very cheap. And I don't remember the prices. We were just young and stupid and drank too much beer. Natural Ice or Natural Light, which we called Natty Ice, Natty Light, that was even cheaper. But you really didn't want to go that route. You really didn't want to go that route. I'll tell you this, we were all cheap. We were all pretty white trash. And the guy who showed up with Natty, he was probably going to get made fun of a little bit. But then, of course, we would have some. I don't even know if any of these brands are still around, to be honest with you. I don't really drink beer anymore. Milwaukee's Best. Is it I don't know if Milwaukee's Best was around. We called it Milwaukee's Worst. That was always on the list. Whatever happened to be cheap at the time. What do you want me to tell you? I was a moron. Jesse, I missed your show. I was at the waterboard meeting, the one that you guilted me into becoming part of. I heard the hate email about Kristi Noem. I thought I was the only Trump supporter who cannot stand the photo ops like that. It's good to know I'm not alone. Yeah, look, there are a lot of us. So Trump said something. And we have played it the other day, speaking of Noem and immigration, stuff like that. Trump has said, well, he plans to bring back the illegals at self-deport. Quote, this is the quote. We're going to give them a stipend. We're going to give them some money and a plane ticket, and we're going to work with them if they're good. If we want them back in, we're going to work with them to get them back as quickly as we can. This was on an interview on Fox News with Rachel Campos-Duffy. Here's what I'm going to say. If he means that, no, absolutely not. That's completely wrong and insane. We don't reward you with money, a plane ticket, or a fast track for illegally violating our laws. However, it is Donald Trump, and as we have discussed many times before, you should take him seriously, but never literally. Selena Zito loves that line, and it's 100% true. You should take him seriously, but never literally. Trump does a lot of things when he's negotiating that people think are the end goal. He says a lot of things. You've seen it 100 times. One morning you'll wake up and he's calling Kim, the head of North Korea, a useless fat lunatic, and he's threatening to blow up his entire country. And the next morning you will wake up and he will put something on social media about how well he's always gotten along with Kim and he can't wait to make a deal. You shouldn't take the first threat as the fact that Trump is this warmonger who wants to have a nuclear war. And you shouldn't take the second thing as, well, Trump loves dictators. He's sucking up. You shouldn't really take either thing at face value because he doesn't mean either of the things. He's negotiating. If this is Donald Trump trying to incentivize faster mass deportation by making some sort of a false promise that, hey, just get out of here and we'll get you back. We'll even buy you a plane ticket. If that's what he's doing, and I suspect that is what he's doing, if that is what he's doing, then I applaud it all the way. If he actually means that we're going to pay people who already came here illegally, that we're going to pay them if they're now kind enough to self-deport, no. 100% no. Count me out on that. No. Get out. And you'll be lucky if you ever come back. All of you, get out. Now, the good news is this. This is from the Daily Caller. Another chips giant commits to manufacturing in the U.S. And look, I didn't read the article, but you know, just like I do, you can never have too many chips. It doesn't matter how big the chip section is in the grocery store, in the gas station. It is never big enough. The more variety, the more chip manufacturers we can have here, the better off this country will be. I am not only a chip man, I want the entire country to be chip people. And if we can make more chips right here in America, like Tostitos, I will be a happy human being. It is the Jesse Kelly Show, final segment of the Jesse Kelly Show before we sail off into Friday, baby, which basically counts as a weekend. Don't forget to email in your Ask Dr. Jesse questions. Don't forget that if you miss any part of the show, you can download the whole thing on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes. PM of Italy, Georgia. I don't know how to say your name, Melanie. Merloni, not Milani. What, Chris? I don't speak Spanish. Anyway, here she was.
Are they still on the table if you cannot make a deal with President Trump?
I'm sure we can make a deal, and I'm here to help on that. I cannot deal in the name of the European Union. My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when he comes to organize also.
Don't worry, Chris, I'll translate.
Such a meeting with Europe. I think the best way is that we simply speak frankly about the needs that every one of us has and find ourselves in the middle. That's useful for all. Somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that together we are stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
Okay. I know Chris had a hard time understanding that. In case you did, it translated as, let's make a deal. What, Chris? That's what she said. All right. That's basically what she said. No, they get along. Look, Italy has needed somebody like that's going to stop the invasion. Trump, they're going to have a natural affinity for each other. The kind of right wing, I guess you'd call them more nationalist, populist. I don't even know if you'd use those terms to describe them, but that's how they're thought of. They're rising. Trump is not a one-off. There are countries all across Western civilization where their populations are sick of the same things we're sick of. Italy, that's why that woman's there. France was about to put Marine Le Pen there, but just like in America, they decided to convict her of a bunch of crimes so she can't run for office. They tried to do the same thing for Trump, but he was able to overcome the whole thing. All of the West is having this internal conflict right now. It's crazy. It's every country. Canada's going through the same thing. Exact same thing. The evil communists run it. The patriots want them stopped. It's a numbers game. Do we have the number? Can we get enough people motivated? Anyway, yes, as I mentioned earlier, the Pam Bondi whiteboard is in effect. There are two different categories. It's called the Pam Bondi counter. On one side are media appearances. On the other side are government arrests. As of this moment, I am sad to report the media appearances side has 2. Government arrests has 0.
ICE declared him as a member of MS-13. The police officers, the gang unit, declared him as a member of MS-13. And also, they independently went to a reliable, confidential informant.
Thanks, Pam. Appreciate it. Remember, communists lock shields because they are mission focused.
Part of our early strategy had to be to sue them as often as we could. And that's Democratic attorney generals like Tish James, who's doing a great job on our behalf. Right. And so we're going to continue to work with Tish James and the Democratic attorney generals and the civil rights groups and the democracy reform groups and the ACLU, all of whom I'm in regular communication with, so we can stop some of these violations, these abuses of law that are taking place. And that's going to be an ongoing effort. Right now, more than 150 or so lawsuits, and it keeps going up.
I'm not sure what I think about Hakeem Jeffries. And I mean that in this way. It's not that I'm a fan. I'm never going to be a fan. But Nancy Pelosi was formidable, extremely formidable. She was not only a fundraising juggernaut inside the Democrat Party, but she knew how to maneuver. And she was vicious enough, she was strong and vicious enough to keep the animals in her party at bay, to ensure it was all about power for her. She knew what the goal was. She knew she had to keep power, and she was very good at it. Now, Hakeem Jeffries is a good fundraiser. That's really the main reason he's there. He's good at raising money. He also needs to be, for the sake of his party, look, if you're rooting for Democrats, for the sake of his party, he needs to be a lot stronger than he has been. He has to keep, look, Jasmine Crockett has to be brought to heel. She just does. You have to take those people who are hurting the national brand, and you have to pull them into your office and say, shut up. No more media appearances. None. Go to your office and shut up. But I don't know if he has that. I don't know if he does. What I do know is he is a communist, and he does know how to use your values against
Diversity,
you.
equity, and inclusion are American values.
They love using those terms like that because they think it's going to work on you. That's why they started using, right after Trump got elected, they started immediately using the term constitutional crisis. These are people who have no use for the Constitution whatsoever, but they know you do. So try to spark that interest in people. Try to get people on your side.
And now,
here's a headline.
Go, you know the thing.
Headlines we didn't get to.
Man found with a live turtle concealed in his pants by the TSA at the New Jersey airport. I don't care how bad I wanted to smuggle a turtle in someplace. I would never take a turtle in my pants. I remember one time when I was a kid, I used to go get turtles all the time. My mom got really mad. I would go get all the turtles I could find, and I would want to keep them as pets. And one time, I tried to get his head back out of the shell where he'd gone in, and I stuck my finger in there, and he closed it on there, and it hurt really bad. Anyway, I hope that guy who put it in his pants is okay. Trump says he's not in a rush for a military option against Iran. It's almost like a miracle from God. We actually have a president who's not in a rush to get us into another war. I don't even know what to do with myself. Anyway, ask Dr. Jesse Fridays tomorrow. That's all.